an emotional Megyn Kelly has told our Sky News host here, Paul Murray, that she was struggling to come to terms with the news that Charlie Kirk had been assassinated.
It's incomprehensible. The loss is so enormous for his family, of course, but for our country. And yeah, for me personally too. I can't quite get my arms around the fact that he's gone, that this larger than life figure who was a spectacular orator, who had his entire life and political future ahead of him, has been taken from us so violently in front of all of our eyes in the most disgusting and vile and jarring way possible, and that we're now living in a world without him. It's just, it hasn't sunk in yet.
Megyn Kelly, certainly a real personal note to this as well. She personally knew Charlie Kirk. She admired his work and they were friends. I want to bring in my colleague Paul Murray now. You've just spoken to Megyn Kelly, as you do every week. What were her circumstances? Because obviously she is a prominent commentator. She has her own podcast. She was watching this live. It
was pretty amazing. So as soon as the news had come that Charlie Kirk had been shot, she was able to put up the live stream show. Hundreds of thousands of people are watching. About an hour in, it goes from the report of the shootings to the injury, and then live on air, you can see her receiving and processing the news that Charlie Kirk had died. She was on air at the exact moment with Glenn Beck. It's pretty harrowing to watch, because I think there's a little bit of a reset for some people about, because I can understand if you're passing by the television going, like, who's this guy, right?
Yeah.
You need to think of somebody who is a combination of a talkback radio host, because he had a radio show, right? He had a television show. He also was the organiser of an organisation called Turning Point USA, which had the responsibility in 2024 for the turnout operation of the Trump campaign. So he was not just an observer, but he was an absolute participant. He is as significant to the MAGA movement as a Steve Bannon. So in many ways, sort of, he is right in that absolute upper tier that without his efforts, we would not have had a return of President Trump.
He's a prodigal son of the MAGA movement, absolutely. And Charlie Kirk, for a conservative outfit, for a conservative party like Trump's party, not just the Republican Party, that youth vote is so important, isn't it? You look at the Liberals here in Australia, that youth vote is something they need to get back. So that just underscores the importance of Charlie Kirk to the conservative movement, not just Trump, but conservative politics. He extolled conservative values and he lived them, absolutely.
Absolutely right. And remember, this at the age of 31, this guy had put himself had worked his way to the absolute heart of the American democracy and of the American politics. Now, some people are going to roll their eyes at this, but wait till the end of the sentence, right? Is that I think that there are millions of people around the world who are feeling like people did in the 1960s when very significant political figures were murdered and assassinated. Now, that is not me saying that he is Martin Luther King. That is not me saying that he is Robert Kennedy. What it is saying, though, is that for millions of people, he was the way in to a particular way of viewing the world, and therefore his death has a certain impact, right? I am not sitting here, and I don't want to be misquoted as somebody suggesting they're going to build monuments to the man. But people, of why is this rolling news today? Why is this as impactful as it is? Because this isn't just a media figure. This is a person who was both observer and participant at the highest level. He was on the place where he broadcasts literally is the same channel, Real America's Voice, that Bannon is on, and he was the show straight after Bannon. So he was right up and in there. And Laura Ingraham on Fox today has been saying that President Trump called her in the aftermath. And so this absolute upper echelon of the MAGA movement that are in full communication. He is front and centre to them. So this
What was the purpose of Trump calling Lauren Ingram?
Well, so all of them are interlinked about how familiar they are, about how friendly they are. Again, to explain Turning Point, I know you know, but to explain to everyone watching, right, is that in Australia we don't really do political rallies, right? In America, obviously, they do rallies, and Turning Point USA was able to basically bring a whole bunch of sort of razzmatazz and rock and roll to political conferences, right down to the pyro, that has now been copied by, say, a Farage and what he's doing in the UK. And what you would do is he would pull together these megastars, right? These megastars like Megyn Kelly or Tucker Carlson or Donald Trump Jr., put them all in one place so it becomes the hottest ticket in town for everyone to get revved up. They learn the message, they learn how to activate. But again, Turning Point USA had become such a big organisation with voter contact and voter outreach that particularly in states like Pennsylvania, which matter to win the presidency, his connection to who knocked on a door was the difference.
Wow, that's extraordinary. And to give our viewers some context about political rallies in the United States as well, it's not just something you can casually turn up to and see on the street. I mean, there is so much security, there's a lot of waiting around, so you really want to be there. People drive for hours to be there, so they're really revved up once they get there and they want to be there. It's got this cult-like atmosphere.
It's evangelical, right?
It's totally evangelical.
Something deeper than politics.
And Charlie Kirk was the next generation, the new frontier of all of that. There's a lot of commentary today, Paul, that I just want to end on asking you about. This is divide that we've talked about in America for quite some time. I mean, there was a couple of years ago there, we were talking about whether there was a possibility of some kind of civil war in the US. Now, I don't think we're at that point. And no. I don't want to state the impact of Charlie Kirk's assassination, but this is an inflection point, absolutely, as to how this country comes together or is further apart politically. And the actions of Trump are going to matter after this as well.
True, although my caution on this how freshly divided or how deeply divided, all the rest of it, right? They did have a thing called the Civil War, right? The concept of division, the 1960 presidential election was, again, essentially 50-50 down to the wire. The 2000 election was decided by the Supreme Court. It has forever been deeply divided. Sometimes whether the division is this way or this way and does move around, there will inevitably be some absolute irresponsible person going for clicks who is going to go over the top in celebration, and there is going to be somebody who's going to go over the top in terms of a search for clicks about retribution, right? That is inevitable. It is baked in. It is what's going to happen because that's what, frankly, the incentives exist, particularly in that online community. Trump is going to be rightly hurt by it. How he responds, well, we'll all find out together. But again, I just think to help frame this and to help frame the emotion and to help frame what's going on here, think back to those moments in the 1960s and America made it through, and of course it always makes it through and it'll be there next week, but what a wild ride.